Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Pile of Potential Hobbies. Hope everyone's doing well on this, what is a rainy Sunday morning here in South Mississippi. Got a quick hobby update for you guys, what I've been working on, and what is coming up next. I've returned to work. I've been out on a medical leave for the past almost 2.5 years, and I was finally able to return to work. So my production is going to slow down. And these videos may go back to every 2 weeks. I'm not exactly sure. It's just going to depend on what I can get painted or built or whatever during the work week and the weekend for me to do these videos. And I may go back to doing more reviews to fill in the gaps, some sprue reviews and box reviews and stuff like that, to help fill in the gaps. But I hope everyone's doing fine. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel, helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. I like seeing the channel grow. It's on the road to 100 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer, so I really appreciate it. All right, so up first, I haven't gotten any more dwarves or Bretonnians built. I'm almost got that Bretonnian battalion box set finished. I just have, I believe it's 18 men-at-arms with pole arms left, or spears left. I believe is what it's an either or, actually. I think in the old world, you decide what you want the weapon to be at combat. But anyways, that's beside the point. Got that left, and for the dwarves, I've got 16... I believe it's 16 ranged guys with the blunderbuss set up to build, and a gyro bomber, and then I'll be finished with those. I still don't have the Flames of War stuff. I say still. I haven't been able to get the Flames of War stuff from a friend of mine that wants me to build that stuff for him. Hadn't had a chance to meet up with me going back to work, and just life getting in the way as it does. So yeah. All right, so what I've gotten painted, it's mostly character models for the Barons War. All of the models are from Footsore or Warhost, or /Warhost. And they're all sculpted by Paul Hicks. Fantastic models, love them. His metals just really make me like metal models more than I thought I ever would. When I first got into the hobby, it was plastics only is the way to go. I started in 40K, and you didn't want to get metal models, didn't want to have to deal with metal models and stuff like that. And now, after dabbling in the Barons War and some of my Bretonnian stuff being metals, I just love a good metal model. So up first, I'll show off the stuff from Warhost. It's 4 orcs from Warhost that I painted up. Really happy with the way these guys turned out. Got a lot of detail, like these severed heads and a hand on this guy. A lot of metallic, but really simple. I used Iron Warriors from Citadel, and then just went over it with a Nuln Oil wash and left it at that. The gold is Dragon's Horde gold, I believe is what it's called, from Tooth and Coats, from Duncan Rhodes's paint range. Yeah, and I'm painting these guys to go up with my orcs from Oathmark. Let me rephrase that. The orcs I have from the Oathmark range to use in Warhost. That's what I'm trying to say. These guys are more heavily armed and armored, and they'll fit in really, really well. So I'm really happy with the way they turned out. Tried to stick with muted colors for the most part. Nothing like excessively bright, like red. That red sticks out, but it's not a bright, shiny red. It's a darker, more muted red. Because I just didn't want them to just be overly done and just too shiny. They're still orcs in a fantasy setting, and the way Warhost is, it's fantasy built into the tropes and motifs of what we come to expect from fantasy. So your orcs are more tribal, barbaric, for lack of a better term, style orcs. So they're not going to have the finest, cleanest, newest looking stuff. But that doesn't mean you need to underestimate them, like this guy with his big mace here, big club. Looks awesome. It's got some little something, maybe had a spider or a hair, spider web or hair right there. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but I can see it. Okay, I think I got it. And then last for the orcs, it's only 4 of them. These are the Linebreaker 2 set, I believe, from Oathmark, or from Warhost. Or A, not 2, but it's Linebreaker A set from Warhost if you were interested in picking it up yourself. And this guy with his 2-handed cleaver. And see, they've got helmets. Some of them, a couple of them have breastplates. The others have scale armor or pieces of plate and stuff like that. So they're not basic, like basic orcs. Or rabble. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They're not rabble. These are the heavy hitting bad guys. Ones that's gonna throw a punch and you're gonna feel it. This guy, this severed head, I don't know if the details here where my thumb's pointing, if that's supposed to be like flesh that's come down, or if it's supposed to be like part of the neck or whatever. I imagined it to be the lower jaw, because you can see it's missing the lower jaw. I imagined it to be the lower jaw pulled back in like an hyper-extended scream, just because these guys are so brutal. But that's it for the orcs. Up next is 11 character models that I'm going to use in the Barrens War, either to fill out different groups, of my retinue, or to use them for missions. As objective markers and stuff like that. The bases they're on are a little smaller than what the Barrens War suggests. The Barrens War suggests a 40mm base for your objectives to be on, but these character models I think will work really well for that. So up first is a group of 3. It's I don't think I've showed these off painted. Pretty sure I didn't in my last video, or maybe I did. Either way, I'm going to show them off again if I did. It's a priest, a guy carrying a holy relic, and then a guard. And they look incredible, and I'm very happy with the way they came out with these more muted tones, but still, like, there's some color there. If I was thinking, I would have done his hair differently, a different color, but I liked I think it's skeleton bone, and I think it looks really good. It just kind of blends in with the robe, cape thing. And then here's the holy relic. Again, using, across all 3 models, I tried to use the same colors to show that they're part of the same order. I say same order, or they're from the same place. They're not just 3 guys just thrown together, that these guys know each other, and they've been outfitted and dressed by the same monastery or cathedral or chapel, whatever the case may be. Their materials for their clothing have come from the same place. But I really like how this gold cross came out. I didn't want a shiny cross. I wanted a muted look to it, and I think it looks really good. And then here is the guard. Again, if I would have thought about it, I would have done his skin or his hair a different color. Really happy with the way the skin turned out. I did my same skin recipe that I usually do for Caucasian models. Gilliman flesh, and then Nuln Oil over that, and then highlight or layer of Cadian flesh tone, and then a highlight, an extreme highlight of Kislev flesh. And I think it turned out really good, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. All right, next is the Bishop of Winchester. He can just be a priest in a knightly retinue, in a command group, or I may run him as like my own lord, not as a baron, but maybe run him as a lord or something, and he can lead that. I think that would be pretty cool. I haven't put a transfer on his shield yet. He's the Bishop of Winchester model. I don't really have any interest doing I think it's a sword crossed by, or the other way around, 2 keys to symbolize the Catholic Church. I think the Catholic Church symbol is like 2 keys crossed like this, but the way this is, it's 2 keys and a sword in some form of being crossed over each other like that. So I don't really want to do that. I may do some kind of like an eagle or something, like a white eagle transfer that I've got, that I've put on some models in the past to just to show off like a personal heraldry kind of thing for him. I did 2 sergeants. They're sergeants with torches is what they are on Footsore's website. I did their shields the same color to show that they're part of his retinue. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe he's ordered some heretics, their houses to be burned, or they're lighting the funeral pyre, or somebody's being burned at the stake kind of thing. But here's the first one. Beautiful model. I like the blue and how it turned out, how it's dark, but still, I don't know, still a good looking blue. And then this guy, that's how I shown they were together. Besides their shield color, they have that matching blue on their outfits. Other than that, they're different. But yeah, I'm happy with the way the fire turned out on the torches. I just went over it with an orange contrast paint. I think it's Grifthound orange, and then used, I think it's Uriel yellow to highlight that. And I think it gives an all right natural looking, realistic looking flame color. Nothing too crazy, or I didn't want to put a lot of effort into it, but I wanted it to also be like, oh, that's fire. That's obviously fire on the end of those torches. So up next is a Mamluk Scout. Really happy with the way he turned out. For his skin, I did, I think it's Fire Slayer skin. I'd have to look, and I don't feel like getting up to look. But I did a couple of coats of that, so it came out darker, and I didn't highlight it up. I've got a recipe for darker skin colors, for like Middle Eastern skin colors, and I just didn't feel like doing it for this guy, so I just went over it, did 2 coats, thick coats of that. And the highlights it provides being a contrast paint, I think, do it justice. So really happy with the way he came out. I've got to put some kind of a transfer or some kind of writing on his shield. I'm not really sure what how I'm gonna do that. And I said this was a Mamluk Scout or guide. It's a Turcopole guide from Footsore. And I'm really happy with the way this light blue, I think it's Briar Queen or something I should have wrote down or looked at these paints before I said, but I think it looks really good, and it contrasts really well with the red of his leggings and the brown of his gambeson. I think it looks really good. And with the ossified earth spray primer that I used for these guys, that still kind of shows through, so it looks kind of threadbare, or it gives like a texture look to it without you having to do anything special to that. So I think that looks really good. Up next is Villager characters. It's Villager character 3. I'm looking at my past. Yeah, Villager character 3 from Footsore for the Baron's War. And again, there'll be table dressing or objective markers or points of interest or something on the table, and they could be used in D&D just to build, again, table dressing, NPCs, stuff like that. You can use them for that, and I think they look really good. This guy with his farming flail laughing at something. Here's a cloaked beggar pulling out a dagger. You can kind of see the sheath down in there, and then the pommel in his hand. Getting ready to stab somebody as an assassin. Be cool to have some kind of interactive thing with the objective that if he becomes the objective you need, he tries to fight you back or something, could damage you before you can subdue him. I think that would be really cool. Here is an actual beggar of some kind. They're mutilated or mutated or something. They're missing a finger on this hand. These fingers are nubs. This foot only has a couple of toes. Toes. Their nose is like a pig nose kind of look up in there. I don't know if it shows up too well in there on the face. But yeah, really happy with the way this one turned out. I kind of went with the same drab color as the priest, because I just didn't want to do black or gray or something like that, so I went with a couple of different browns, and I think it turned out really well. And then next is just a lady carrying her basket of goods. I did that blue again, like I had done on the Turkopol guide, and again, really happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks really good next to the green and this black-brown color. And yeah, see on the back, you can see some of that brown showing through. Maybe it's threadbare or dirty or something. It kind of creates texture without you having to do anything but apply the paint. So that ossified earth from Color Forge is amazing. And if I can get a hold of it cheaply or easily enough, because shipping aerosols is expensive in the United States, and I think most places, that may be my go-to primer from here on out. If not, I'll stick with Wraithbone. But really happy with that's what I used for all of these guys. Really happy with the way it turned out. So that's what I've gotten finished. These 15 models, which for the month puts me, I'm at 27 models for the month, which is a really good number considering I did 3 foot nights in March. I thought I had done no models in March, but I had painted up these 3 foot nights that I've shown off in the past. And I still have to base them and do their shields. So having more than a model a day right now, just barely more than a model a day, I'm really happy with, and I'm going to try to get it to a model a day for the month. I'm going to try, as far as what's been painted. Up next, I'm going to do 3 more character models. This Gamekeeper from Footsore. Cleaned them up already, went through, and I think I've gotten all the mold lines and flashing and stuff off. But he's full of a lot of detail with his crossbow. It looks really cool, and his sword and his horn, and he's got an eye patch. So a Gamekeeper with a crossbow that has an eye patch, I just always like a good archer range person with an eye patch. Something about it. Also this Outlawed Noble with his sword resting on his shoulder. Maybe he's the one the gamekeeper's after. This guy's maybe been sending out poachers or poaching himself the king's goods, and maybe this is the guy that's behind it all, because here is also a poacher. So if nothing else, I could use this guy as a lord, and then these two can just be character models in groups of crossbowmen or archers, respectfully. I like the way they look, and I just want to paint them up. I think they look really cool. He's got, I believe it's some smaller birds or squirrel tails there. And then he's got a rabbit coming down that way. So I'm going to paint him up probably in some kinds of greens and some browns here and there, maybe for his hood. And then his tunic, do the like a green. So camouflage, but not really camouflage. Just muted colors. And that way the birds, or whatever this is, and the rabbit stick out. But yeah, they're up next. I'm also thinking about doing these Otherworld miniature hobgoblins. Miniatures. Otherworld miniatures hobgoblins. They're not miniature hobgoblins. Or smaller hobgoblins. This one's a champion and a sorcerer. I'm trying to, I don't know how well that shows up with the glare, but thinking about getting them ready. An issue I'm having is I don't have, at least I don't think I do, I'll have to look and see. I don't have slotted bases, so I'll have to cut off these slots and put them on regular bases, which I don't mind doing. Pole Arms 2 set, just wicked looking pole arms. Kind of bend that back out, but that's no big deal. And then Pole Arms 1. They came with slotted bases. They're the only one out of these 4 packs that I've got that came with slotted bases. So either I cut off the tabs, I called them slots earlier, I'll cut off the tabs or try to see if I have slotted. Excuse me on that, had an alarm go off. And then these guards, hobgoblin guards, they look really cool. Paint them up. I don't know, another issue, not another issue, but an issue I'm having with these that's making me hesitate on painting them. I want to paint them up just to look like orcs, because they're orcoid-esque, and I think they would look really cool as like command groups or character models in groups for Warhost, because that's what my orcs are painted for. You know, next to these guys, they're a little thicker and a little taller. They're a lot thicker, so maybe they only could be like a command group or something. I don't know. Or maybe I just paint them up to look like hobgoblins and leave it at that and use them for RPGs. I don't really know, but I'm excited to get to them. If I don't start on those, I've got some animals that I could paint that would be really easy to paint. When it's not raining, I can get them primed and get started on them, and that'll add to the total for the month. So it's going to be one or the other. I just haven't decided yet. But that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And everything I got painted. If you have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comments. And I'll get back to you. Subscribe if you haven't already. It'd be really appreciated. Click the bell icon and set it to all, so that way you get a notification every time I upload a video. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you had a good one, and continue to have a good one. Take it easy.